This is the MOJHON Rainbow 3. Comes in this nice box right here. You can see why it's called a Rainbow 3. And this thing works for Windows, the Switch 1 and 2, and mobile devices. It also claims to have 2000 Hz, both wired and wireless. We'll find out if that's true or not. I'm not exactly sure what kind of sticks they have, but it says capacitive anti-drift joysticks. So maybe Hall effects. So here's the controller itself. Comes with a really nice white braided cable. You can also play it wirelessly via the dongle. In addition to the 2 default stick caps, you also have 4 more additional stick caps. This one is a little longer than the default one, and this is the longest. And finally, we have 2 D-pads to choose from. Alright, in terms of build quality, it just looks and feels so nice. The material on here is like marble. It's shiny, it's smooth, it just looks so good. Look at this. I've never seen anything like this before. We also have textured rubberized handles. It's got 2 back buttons, and also we have 2 additional shoulder buttons. Alright, look at this. Isn't that crazy? It's like a little magical ball, right? And I normally do not like RGBs, but this thing is just sick. The whole freaking thing lights up. This has to be one of the coolest controllers I've ever get my hands on. When I first took this out of the box, I had trouble getting this to work on Windows. When I changed the connection mode to X input, it just says no controllers detected. So I reached out to BigBig1, and the issue has to do with the Xbox controller driver. They're working on a firmware update that'll fix this, but in the meantime, here's the temporary solution. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the description, so if you do have this controller, you can get it working on Windows. Let's start with the joystick. The tension on here is very soft. There's a ring around the joystick, making rotating it really smooth. The face buttons and the D-pad uses micro mic switches. They're pretty standard. I don't have any complaints. Xbox style shoulder buttons and triggers. Tension on the trigger is also pretty soft. These extra shoulder buttons are really useful. I hope that more controllers in the future implement this. Alright, let's get into the D-pads. Let's start with this disc D-pad first. As you can clearly see, it's a disc with a little raised cross on top of it. In terms of cardinal directions, this is very accurate. I can do all of my diagonals, not a problem. Getting the cardinal directions right is pretty tricky. You can't be too loose and you can't be too stiff either. Let's say I want to press down, but I'm a little bit off angle. So there's a little bit of give, there's a little bit of leeway for you. And if I want to do diagonal, I just feel it, right? There's a crevice here, so I put my thumb there, bam. Look at this. And you can see here, this thing is not jiggling at all, right? It just gives you more precise control when it's not jiggling around. Double taps works really well. The back buttons is nice and big so you can feel it. I programmed these 2 down to help me do backdash. And because it is a disc, it's easy for me to slide around to do motion inputs. And you can see that the cross here is raised, but it's not too much, and it's also tapered. So you can still feel it, but you can slide over it pretty easily without getting your finger stuck. This is a really good design. Look at that. I can do all of my combos on this guy here. So yeah, this D-pad is fantastic for both 2D and 3D fighters. Now let's talk about this cross D-pad. Side by side here, you can kind of tell the difference. This thing is tiny compared to this D-pad. I'm gonna switch it and we'll talk about it. You just yank it out and then put the new one in. This cross D-pad is a little too small for my thumb. It literally covers the whole freaking D-pad. Look at this. Initially, I had a lot of trouble with the smaller D-pad, but after some time, I did get used to it. And this is also a pretty good D-pad for fighting games. Because it is smaller, you can do double quarter circles pretty fast. I would say it's even faster than this D-pad. And in terms of cardinal directions, it's the same thing. This thing is pretty accurate. You don't get accidental diagonals or anything. I'm gonna try to press down at a slightly off angle. All right, check this out. All right, still down. So yeah, after getting used to the smaller size, this D-pad is also good for both 2D and 3D fighters. So far, this controller looks amazing. It feels really good in your hands, and both of the D-pads are fantastic for fighting games. But honestly, that is not the best feature of this controller. The best feature of this controller is that it allows me to do very difficult moves, almost impossible one-frame moves with ease. You go to the website and download this app right here. It's called One Assistance. In Virtua Fighter, one of the curious moves, you're supposed to press kick and guard, and then release guard after one frame. There's 60 frames per second. Just think about this for a second, okay? These people want you to press both buttons and release one of them in 1/60 of a second. Let's just press guard, okay? That's 6 frames. Okay, let's see if I can do it faster. 4 frames. Okay, I'm just lightly touching it. That's 2 frames. And that's just with me pressing only one button. As you can see, there is no way you can consistently pull this off during a match. It's just no way. Now let's go back to the app. We're gonna go to macro setting. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make sure that this is on tap. And then as far as the buttons, I'm gonna do X and B. You can choose multiple buttons at once. For the duration, we're gonna do 16 milliseconds. That's 1 frame. Save. Make sure it's activated. All right, let's go back to the game. What you wanna do now, just press this and B at the same time. Look at that. Kick and guard executes at the same time. And guard, because of the macro, it only runs for 16 milliseconds, which is 1 frame. And the kick here doesn't really matter. Check that out. I mean, how cool is that? And honestly, this is a game changer because it allows me to do moves that are otherwise impossible to do. And that can really open up your game, you know? Now you can argue that's cheating. Well, that's true. To me, fighting games should be a thinking game versus a executing hard moves game. I'm not sure if the guys at One did this intentionally for fighting games. If they did, that's amazing. If they didn't, also amazing. And honestly, this is the best thing about this controller when it comes to fighting games. Let's head over to the Gamepad Lab website and check out a latency test. On Wired, for the average input delay for button is about 3 milliseconds, and for the stick is about 4. And the polling rate is indeed over 2000 Hertz. Insane. Look at the jitter, barely any at all. Now for the dongle, it's a little slower, 7.4 milliseconds for button, about 8.8 for the stick. It's very impressive that they're able to get 2000 Hertz out of the dongle. Crazy. Now for Bluetooth, oh boy, this is not good. 17 milliseconds, 14 milliseconds, and the polling rate is only 124 Hertz. Jitter is just so bad here. Alright, final thoughts. I honestly didn't expect much from this controller coming in. I thought that the RGBs is cool, but it may be a gimmick. But it turns out that the D-pads on here are fantastic for fighting games. And the fact that you can program these extra buttons to a specific interval is just amazing for fighting games. And if you're wondering how much this thing costs, on Amazon right now it's listed at 90 bucks, but you can get it for $64 right now. That's a pretty good deal, I would say. I'm genuinely surprised of how good looking this controller is and how functional it is. This has to be one of the top controllers I've reviewed this year. Once in a while, you get a treat like this. It's really nice, huh? Alright, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe for more, and take care now.